At 68, she still marked every important date on the large wall calendar in her kitchen. The day her husband Richard died of a sudden heart attack 15 years earlier. The day her only daughter Claire graduated from college. The day Claire married Ethan 3 years ago. But the date she circled in red every year was Claire's birthday, August 15th. This year it would be the big one, 30. For the past 8 years, ever since Claire turned 22 and moved to San Francisco to find herself, Margaret had been quietly building something special. She called it the Future Family Fund. Every month, without fail, she transferred $2,000 from her modest retirement savings into a high-yield trust account she had opened in Claire's name. The plan was simple. When Claire and Ethan decided to start a family or buy a house or launch the business they always talked about, Margaret would hand over the keys to a nest egg that would make their dreams possible. She never told them the exact amount. She wanted it to be a surprise, a real one. By August 2025, the fund had grown to just over $192,000. Margaret had skipped new clothes, cancelled the cruise she'd dreamed of taking with Richard, eaten more canned soup than she cared to admit, and turned the thermostat down to 58 in winter. But every time she saw the balance climb, she smiled. It was worth it. Her daughter would never have to struggle the way she and Richard had in their early years. Claire and Ethan lived in a sleek 2-bedroom loft in Soma that Margaret had helped them buy with a small down payment gift of $40,000. They both worked in tech, Claire as a product manager for a hot AI startup, Ethan as a growth marketer for a fintech company. Their Instagram was a highlight reel, rooftop parties, weekend getaways to Napa, photos of them clinking champagne glasses at exclusive events. Margaret liked every post. Sometimes Claire would text back a heart emoji. That was enough. In June, Claire called, "Mum, we're planning something big for my 30th, like really big. But it's a surprise, so don't ask too many questions, okay?" Margaret's heart swelled. "I won't pry, honey. Just tell me if I need to book a flight." Claire laughed. "No flight needed. It's in the city, and dress nice, cocktail attire. I'll send details soon." Margaret spent weeks preparing. She bought a new dress, emerald green silk that made her silver hair glow. She had her hair coloured and cut at the fancy salon in town, the one she usually avoided because a trim cost more than her weekly grocery budget. She even booked a hotel room in San Francisco for 2 nights so she wouldn't have to drive home late. On August 14th, the day before the party, a courier delivered an envelope to her door. Inside was a thick cream card with gold foil lettering. "Claire Elizabeth Harrington and Ethan James Carver request the pleasure of your company at a private celebration of Claire's 30th birthday, August 15th, 2025 to 7 p.m. The Battery, San Francisco cocktail attire. Valet available." Margaret pressed the invitation to her chest. The Battery was one of the most exclusive private clubs in the city. She'd read about it in magazines. Rooftop views, celebrity members, membership fees in the tens of thousands. Her little girl had made it. That night, she barely slept. The next evening, she arrived at the Battery at 6:45, clutching a small gift box containing a delicate gold locket she'd had engraved with Claire's initials and the date. The valet took her keys with a polite nod. At the door, a woman in a black suit checked her name against a tablet. "Margaret Harrington?" the woman asked. "Yes, Claire's mother." The woman's smile tightened. "I'm sorry, Mum. Your name isn't on the list." Margaret blinked. "There must be a mistake. I have the invitation right here." She handed over the card. The woman scanned it, frowned, then spoke quietly into an earpiece. "Please wait here." Minutes passed. Guests streamed past her, beautiful young people in designer clothes, laughing, air-kissing. Margaret felt the emerald dress suddenly too bright, too eager. Finally, a man in a tailored navy suit approached. "Mrs. Harrington, I'm Julian, the events manager. There's been a mix-up. This event is invitation only for our investors and close personal network. Family members were informed separately. Margaret's stomach dropped. I wasn't informed of anything. My daughter sent me this invitation herself. Julian's expression softened with something like pity. I'm very sorry. Perhaps there was a miscommunication. The guest list was finalized weeks ago. I can't allow entry without approval from the hosts. May I speak to Claire? Margaret asked, her voice steady despite the tremor in her hands. Julian hesitated, then nodded. He led her to a quiet alcove and dialed a number on his phone, handing it to her. Claire answered on the second ring, her voice bright with party noise behind her. Mum, where are you? I'm downstairs. They won't let me in. A pause. Music thumped faintly through the line. Oh, right. Mum, listen, we had to make some tough calls. The venue has a strict capacity and Ethan's investors are here. It's kind of a dual thing. My birthday and a soft launch for the new round of funding. We kept it small. Just our generation and the people who are, part of the future. Margaret felt the floor tilt. You sent me an invitation. I know. I'm sorry. I thought you'd understand. It's not personal. You're always welcome another time. Another time. Margaret looked down at the gift box in her hand. I see. Happy birthday, Claire. She hung up before her daughter could reply. Outside, the valet brought her car. She drove home in silence, the emerald dress crumpled against the seat like a discarded party streamer. The next morning, she opened her laptop and logged into her banking app. She rarely checked the trust fund balance anymore. She liked the surprise of watching it grow. But today, she needed to see it. The account showed $0 transferred in full, August 10th, 2025. Recipient, Claire E. Harrington Carver, Memo, Seed Capital, Series A. Margaret stared at the screen until the numbers blurred. She called the bank. The manager, a kind woman named Sarah, who had helped her set up the trust years ago, confirmed it. Claire came in with the proper documentation. As the named beneficiary and co-trustee after age 25, she had full authority to liquidate. I'm so sorry, Mrs. Harrington. I assumed you knew. Margaret thanked her and hung up. For 3 days, she didn't leave the house. She sat in Richard's old armchair, staring at the wall calendar where August 15th was still circled in red. She didn't cry. She felt hollow, as if someone had scooped out everything soft inside her. On the 4th day, she made coffee, sat at the kitchen table, and opened a new spreadsheet. She titled it Contributions. She listed every transfer, every skipped vacation, every winter with the heat low, every birthday and Christmas gift, the down payment on the loft, the furniture allowance, the emergency credit card she'd co-signed and quietly paid off 3 times. The total came to $317,400. She printed the spreadsheet, laid it on the table, and stared at it for a long time. Then she called a lawyer. Victoria Lang was a sharp-eyed woman in her 50s who specialized in elder financial abuse and trust disputes. She met Margaret in her office overlooking the bay. This is one of the cleanest cases I've seen, Victoria said after reviewing the documents. The trust was revocable until Claire turned 25. After that, it became irrevocable without your consent as grantor. But here's the thing. You never signed the amendment making it irrevocable. Claire forged the signature page. It's subtle, but a handwriting expert will catch it. Margaret nodded slowly. What can we do? We freeze any remaining assets traced to the fund. We file for fraud, undue influence, and financial elder abuse. And we go public if needed. Claire's startup just announced a $20 million seed round led by some very image-conscious VCs. They won't like headlines about stolen grandma money. Margaret flinched at the word grandma. She wasn't even a grandmother. Claire had always said they weren't ready for kids. Do it, she said. The freeze hit 3 days later. Claire called that evening, hysterical. Mum, what the hell? Our accounts are locked. The investors are pulling out. This is insane. Margaret let her rant. When Claire paused for breath, Margaret spoke calmly. You took money that wasn't yours yet. Money I saved for your future family. Money from my retirement. From Dad's life insurance. It was in my name. You said it was for me. It was in trust, with conditions. You forged documents to take it early. Silence. Then Ethan's voice in the background. Tell her we'll pay it back. Just unfreeze the accounts. Claire came back on. We can work this out. It was a misunderstanding. We thought you wanted us to use it for the company. You're always saying how proud you are. Margaret closed her eyes. I was proud. Past tense. Mum, please. This will destroy everything we've built. Read aloud in a warm, welcoming tone. Speaker 1. You destroyed it when you locked me out of your life and spent my savings without a word. Another silence. Then, softer. You're really doing this? Over money? It's not over money, Margaret said. It's over respect, love, basic decency. You didn't just take my savings, Claire. You took my trust, and you can't buy that back. She hung up. The lawsuit moved quickly. Victoria was relentless. Within weeks, they had depositions scheduled. Claire and Ethan hired a top-tier defense firm, but the evidence was overwhelming. The forged amendment, the sudden liquidation days before the party, the invitation sent to Margaret as a deliberate distraction. Then the media got hold of it. A tech blogger broke the story. AI startup Series A funded by allegedly stolen trust fund from founder's mother. It went viral. Comments poured in, some cruel, some sympathetic. Margaret read a few, then stopped. Claire called again, this time from a new number. Mum, please drop the suit. We'll repay everything, with interest, just make it go away. Margaret was in her garden, pruning roses. How much can you repay right now? A pause. We spent most of it. Legal fees, payroll, marketing for the launch. So, nothing. We'll figure it out, just give us time. Time is what I gave you for 8 years. You chose not to use it wisely. Victoria negotiated a settlement. $250,000 repaid over 5 years. Plus Claire and Ethan would issue a public apology and step down from the company. The VCs pulled out entirely. The startup folded. Claire signed. The first payment arrived 6 months later, $4,166.67. A fraction of what Margaret used to send willingly. Margaret used the settlement to do something she'd never allowed herself before. She booked a 3-month tour of Europe, first-class trains, charming hotels, guided tours of gardens and museums. She went to Paris, Tuscany, the Amalfi Coast. She painted watercolors of sunsets and sent postcards to no one in particular. She made friends on the trip, a group of women her age, widows and divorcees traveling solo. They laughed over wine in Florence, danced to street musicians in Barcelona, cried together at a war memorial in Normandy. One night in Santorini, watching the caldera glow orange, Margaret realized she hadn't thought about Claire in days. When she returned home, she sold the big house with its empty bedrooms and moved into a light-filled condo downtown. She joined a painting class, volunteered at a women's shelter, started a small scholarship fund for single mothers going back to school, named anonymously after Richard. Claire sent a letter once. Mum, I was wrong. I let ambition blind me. I thought success would make me feel secure, but it only made me hollow. I miss you. I know I don't deserve forgiveness, but I'm trying to become someone who does. I'm working 2 jobs now. Ethan and I are in therapy. We talk about you a lot, about how we took you for granted. If you ever want to talk, I'm here. No expectations. Love, Claire. Margaret read it twice. She didn't reply. Not yet. Some wounds take longer than others. 2 years later, on August 15th, Margaret turned 71. She hosted a small dinner at her condo, 6 of her new friends, laughter, good wine, a cake with a single candle. No one asked where her daughter was. After they left, she sat on her balcony with a cup of tea, watching the city lights. Her phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. "Happy birthday, Mum. I hope you're surrounded by people who love you the way you deserve. I'm proud of the woman you've become, even if I played no part in it. I love you." Claire Margaret stared at the message for a long time. Then she typed, "Thank you, honey. I love you too." She hit send before she could overthink it. It wasn't reconciliation, not yet. Maybe not ever in the way it once was. But it was a beginning. And for the first time in years, Margaret felt something like peace. She no longer circled August 15th in red. Instead, she marked her own birthday, May 22nd, in gold. Because some milestones, she had learned, are meant for no one but yourself.